Hey, welcome back. For those of you who've subscribed or have watched a few videos and decided to watch one more, thank you very much for joining and subscribing. So I wanted to show you some of the damage we need to repair from what I did in the rain. I tried some grading in the rain, definitely a mistake. So I want to show you some of the things that I've got to repair and show you how I can tell what's going on with my grading while I'm still in the cab. So one thing I have installed is this. It's called an inclinometer. And what this does is measure the angle or the tilt of the skid steer from left to right. So while I'm grading, I can look up here and see, because right now I'm at a pitch of about 2.5 degrees, maybe 3, tilted to the side. The other thing I have, and it's a little bit harder to see, but we can see it from in the cab, is there's actually a level on here. So I can tilt my bucket left and right, and the bubble level then shows me how level I am to the earth, but the problem is it's really hard to see. That bubble's too small. If anybody's seen larger levels that are maybe an inch in diameter, I would love to get one. But that also helps me determine the true angle of the pitch of the road. So the scale in the black and white numbers is the angle or the amount of pitch left or right of the bucket relative to the skid steer, but the bubble is true level. And then one other inclinometer I have is I have one on the back, on the side, and this one on the side shows me my pitch up or down. And so this road where I'm sitting right now is about 7 degrees uphill. So very handy gear inside the tractor to help. So what do we need to do today? We're going to need to fix all of this. So at the end of the rainstorm, I put a pile there to divert the remaining water so it didn't get any worse, but there's huge ruts here. So let's get out and check that out. So we're facing uphill right now, and what I did is I made a big mound to just stop every last bit of water and get it going down into the gully that leads down to our favorite culvert. So by putting this big mound here, it definitely caught any remaining water and got it off to the side. My problem is I created some big ruts with the skid steer that sank, and I still don't have the water making it to the gully farther up the hill. So farther up the hill, there's actually like a ridge of dirt that is blocking the water from getting into the gully. So here, again, kind of hard to tell, but there's a mound of dirt, and that side is the gully, mound of dirt, then road. And as far as I know, water ain't gonna go over a hill. So we've got to take out that. We've got places where there's trees like this growing into our gully. That all has to come out, and we need to do that for this full length of road. So that's what we're going to work on today. is, for the most part, slanted towards the gully. I made myself a hole here that is easily, gosh, this has got to be 6 inches lower than this. So I'm torn between filling this side in and scraping this side out so that it gets to the gully. I think if it rained right now, most of the water from up top would make it over to the side, but I'd have a big soft spot in the middle, and then when I try and come up this way, you know, it's going to be very soft ground. So I need to try and take gravel and fill some of this in where I've got some gravel in different piles spread around the property. But I really need to bring this part down so that any water that comes from this way is just going to continue to slope over to this side to this major gully. So I think we'll try shooting some of that from inside so you can see how I'm looking at the instruments to determine the fact that even though this part tilts that way, this is below that. So the water is still going to run down to the middle and may pass this pile and head that way. So let's see what we can do. So I wanted to show you what I'm looking at is two things when I'm working. I'm looking at how much of an angle am I at here. Here it just shows me that my skid steer is sloped slightly to the left, which is where I want it to go. We're facing uphill. We want the water to drain into the gully that's on this side. There is a small gully over here, so when we put down gravel, we'll have a small crown on one side, but the majority of the water we want coming down this side. And so I'm watching the angle on here, but there's two parts to it. This is about 18 feet wide, so 3 buckets wide. So I need the angle to be consistent across, and I can't have the center be lower than the edge, and that was what my problem was. So show here is as we're coming down, so this is where we just filled in, right there, and we'll watch this angle to see that the road stays pitched that way the whole time. So this whole edge stayed slanted towards the gully. So we're doing pretty good here. If I move to the middle, come up the middle, we just need to make sure, oh, see, look at what's happening. We're now level. And that's the problem, is that's when we start to get the water pooling, etc. So we want to try and make sure that as we go this whole way, up and down this, that the curve is consistent. So for our purposes, you know, there are going to be places where we'll drain to this side, but for our purposes, we want to watch this and we want to stay, as we're heading downhill, we want this ball to stay on this side, which means we're sloped to that side. You can have, this side can now be crowned and drain into there, but in general, we want the water to be on this side because so much water comes down from the top of the mountain. This side is actually better suited to handle the water, and it heads to a creek much earlier. So that's why we're grading it like this in this particular situation versus making a perfect crown up the middle on the whole thing, which in this situation really isn't optimal. Well, it's getting late in the day, the shadows are getting longer, but the road is actually looking a bit better. So I think we'll take a few more very shallow passes, but I think we're ready to let this weather the next storm and see how it does. So let's do a few light passes. this is looking pretty good. I think we're about done. I'm just taking a few shallow scoops here and there, just really just driving up and down it, looking at how it's changed since this morning. You know, put in about 4 hours here on this section of road, and it's looking better. It's always hard to tell. You have to wait until it rains to see that the water is really draining where you thought it would drain. And in all honesty, the first time I did this, it definitely didn't drain where I thought it would. But it's looking pretty good. I just taken a trip up and back, looking at how it's doing, and it's looking like I think I'm finished for the day. Let's take another pass over it, take another look. It's looking pretty good. Maybe a little bit I'll take off here and there, but you know, overall the grading on this is much improved from where it was. I don't see huge areas where the water's going to pile up in the wrong places. So I think we can call this done for now. We will definitely have to take a look at it after we've had some heavy rains. And we went from having rain all the time to now we're back to it's really not going to rain, and there's no rain in the forecast. So just take a quick look at this, and I think we're going to call it a day. There's just a little bit here and there I'd take off, but you know, you get late in the day, you probably make more mistakes than improvements. So it's probably better to cut your losses, just take a look at what you accomplished, and call it a day. Thanks for watching. I hope you subscribed. I hope you enjoyed it. If you watched it all the way to here, we'll have more videos in the future. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. And have a great day.